So after the win-win trade for both sides, the Houston Rockets and the Dallas Mavericks won that trade because the Mavericks now, shout out Tim MacMahon of ESPN. Also, Theo Pinson will now strongly expected to stay with the team, but basically they can't complete the trade until draft night because of the top 10 first round pick. And basically once they get him, he's extensionable for 4 years, $77 million, 6 months after the contract. So basically, if he starts the year good and everything looks smooth and he has a good connection with the team, they'll probably give him at the beginning of the season, around December, a 4 year, $77 million extension, which if he shows that he can be a plus defender, which I think the only reason you can argue that he's been a double-double guy shooting 38%. This isn't what the video is about, but I wanted to talk about this real quick. And people will be like, yeah, he's been a double-double guy, 38% from three, and almost a 20-point scorer, basically a 20-point scorer. But the defense hasn't entirely been there. I think it's just because he's played on bad teams where defense hasn't mattered as much. I think now Jason Kidd will get him to play defense. Either way, like and subscribe. Let's talk about everything Mavs. Shout out to my man. And what I wanted to say was Theo Pinson is awesome, and he's on their priority to re-sign. Just a great locker room guy, and I actually expect this coming year Theo Pinson to play. Now, they're going to re-sign Jalen Brunson, but the second thing that they talked about, they want a wing player. And let's talk about wing guys that they can have, because you have to understand, in this move, the Mavericks, I want to talk about how much money they'll have to play around with if you look at the team's salary, because it is interesting, because they did just trade away, a bevy of salaries. So basically $7 million, $10 million, and who else? So they've moved on $12 million of salary, which was pretty impressive how they did that. Okay, they really did just move on from $12 million of salary. Great job on their part. And all those players were bench guys that didn't really play on the team. So now you have Christian Wood. You're gonna probably have to use your taxpayer mid-level exception, which is about $6 million. So you're not going to get a top tier guy. So when you're looking at your free agents list, I mean, you could maybe look at a guy like Gary Payton, but one may argue that's not who you want. Victor Oladipo, same thing. But I think a Bruce Brown could be helpful for this team. I think he could be coming to them for $6 million. Same thing with Otto Porter. I think he could help them out very much. A Nick Batum, but he'll probably stay on the Clippers. I think there's a handful of guys, even maybe a Juancho Hernan-Gomez, if he looks good, or either of the Martin twins if they do make it to free agency. These are all guys I'm just listing out here. A guy that they could really get is Gary Harris. He shot 38.4% from three last year, 11 points a night, had a steal a game, 44% from the field too. I mean, he's a combo guard. But he could play some of the wing. He's able to do some scoring at all three levels. A decent rebounder for his size. I know 2 rebounds a night, but again, he was on the Magic last year. I think Gary Harris could be a very cheap option for the Mavericks. Honestly, at the same time, if you need another guy playmaking, Kyle Anderson, this guy could get cheap. And Kyle Anderson, he could play some small ball 5 for y'all, and he could be a point guard. He's huge, and he slows down the game, okay? And he has some guard-like skills. 7.5 rebounds, 7.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, 3 assists a game, a steal a night, and almost a block a game. I know he shot 33% from 3, but 45% from the field. And he made $9.9 million last year, but he won't get anywhere near that. I really think that's a decent option. DeLon Wright would be so cool if they could get him. I don't think Joe Ingles should be an option. I mean, Nemanja Bjelica, he looked great on the Warriors this past year. I think it'll be fine. I want to hear your thoughts down below, guys. I think this is all very, very interesting. But hey, I think definitely time will tell how this offseason will play out for the Mavericks. But yeah, I do think it's going to be interesting. Go check out my NBA show. It's interesting. It's fun. It's a laugh. Daily start next week. Next episode's tomorrow. Goodbye.